Feel free to check out an awesome animated short called Night of a Thousand Felines from director Callie Booth. It stars my voice and it kicks ass. Head to Callie's YouTube page to watch it now.
Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. Iron Man is a comic book superhero character created by Stan Lee. He first appeared in Tales of Suspense issue 39. He then got his own comic book series and has become a renowned superhero icon since. Iron Man has been adapted into many cartoons and movies. I've only seen Avengers Assemble, but I am interested in seeing the others. In this episode, I'm going to review one of those adaptations. The Invincible Iron Man.
The Invincible Iron Man is an action fantasy movie that follows the wealthy inventor Tony Stark, who decided to use his money to resurrect an ancient Chinese temple from the ground. Unfortunately, a group of terrorists called the Jade Dragons don't want the temple to be brought back, because it will potentially unleash great evil. Despite the terrorist attacks, Tony goes ahead with his project, which puts many lives in danger, including Tony's best friend, who ends up being kidnapped by the Jade Dragons. Tony heads off to China, where he ends up being attacked and kidnapped by the Jade Dragons. He wakes up with a damaged heart that's healed by a shaman monk and his best friend Rhodes, who luckily has an army medic background. Meanwhile, the restoration of the temple has led to the summoning of 4 elemental warriors, each one hell-bent on resurrecting a chap called the Mandarin, by collecting a series of rings. While kidnapped, Tony befriends a Jade Dragon called Li Mei, who doesn't believe in the group's violent methods but has her reasons for staying. Tony then builds a rocket-powered iron suit to help himself and Rhodes escape. Once free, Tony finds out that he has been framed and is now wanted by the law enforcement agency S.H.I.E.L.D. So, Tony must sneak into his hidden lab and use his catalogue of secretly built iron suits to stop the elemental warriors. This movie isn't very impressive and offers hardly anything to get emotionally sucked into. I struggle to be invested in the story because there's not enough weight to the drama. I rarely felt a sense of excitement, even when I was watching Iron Man fighting ancient elemental monsters or a bloody dragon. I think this is because I couldn't care about what was going on for the most part. Like, I wasn't bothered about the overall threat. So what if these Guardians want to resurrect a guy called the Mandarin? I don't know this Mandarin guy and I have no personal connection with him as a viewer. I didn't feel afraid of his potential return because the film doesn't make him seem intimidating or worth getting worried about.
There's no exciting or scary build-up for the Mandarin, so when I finally got to see him, I just thought, okay, that's the Mandarin. He's big and he's got magic powers. Oh, the film must be almost over. That's good.
I also had no feelings about the Elemental Guardians themselves. Sure, they have cool designs, but they're not exactly engaging villains. They just battle Iron Man and collect rings. That's about it. They're emotionless, one-dimensional characters that aren't very fun. Even when the movie threw its wildest ideas at the screen, I just sat there and thought, meh, whatever.
The problem with this movie is that after I watched it, I didn't really feel anything. Usually when I watch a film, I'm at least excited, inspired, scared, sad, amused, entertained, annoyed, angry, some kind of emotion. Even the bad films I've seen give me some kind of reaction. This movie? Nothing, not even mixed feelings. I just sat there and thought, okay, that was the Invincible Iron Man.
Tony Stark is good-hearted and noble, but he does make mistakes that affect others, so he's not perfect. At the start of the film, Tony comes off as cheeky and confident, but as soon as the main story kicks in, all his charm strangely fades away. He becomes boring and way too serious. If only he kept his appealing, egocentric self-assurance all the way through the film. Instead, for the most part, he comes off as a plain and generic action hero. Lee May is a stoic woman who has joined the Jade Dragons, after her disappointed dad once cruelly told her that she has no purpose besides following the family tradition of facing the Mandarin. She became convinced that it was the truth and dedicated her life to fulfilling her family's mission. Now, because we only get one very quick scene of Lee May and her dad, I struggle to understand her passionate commitment to her family tradition. The emotional connection between Lee May and her family is barely explored, so I couldn't sympathise with her motives.
Lee May just doesn't interest me as a character, because there's a lack of emotional weight to what drives her as a character. Yeah, she seems passionate about what she's doing, but the film doesn't give me enough to care about that passion, to connect with that passion.
Rhodes is sensible, practical, and clearly treasures his friendship with Tony, no matter how many times he lets him down or does the wrong thing. I just wish that Tony had enough personality to help me care about their relationship enough. There's potential drama in their friendship, but Tony is too bland and boring to fuel my interest towards their emotional connection. Rhodes is a cool guy, but his role in the film is Tony's best friend. How can I care about said friendship when Tony bores me so much? Imagine if Woody had no charisma or personality in the Toy Story films. How would I give a crap about his friendship with Buzz when I couldn't care less about Woody himself? Pepper is Tony's assistant, and she shows a lot of loyalty towards her boss, even after he gets in trouble with the law at one point, despite his innocence. I'm not sure why she is willing to put herself on the line for Tony so much though. Yeah, he's her employer, but I can't imagine someone going to these lengths to save their boss, especially when you consider that he's a wanted man. For all Pepper knows, he could actually be a guilty criminal. Pepper and Tony share hardly any moments together in the film, so I didn't end up reading any chemistry or connection between them. Therefore, it was hard to sincerely believe that Pepper would risk so much to save him, as well as trust him to this level. However, Pepper does have a crafty side to her that I admire, so at least she has something to like about her. Howard Stark is Tony's father. The film tries to add a lot of drama and tension to their relationship, but they share one scene together before the main story kicks off. They barely interact with each other in this scene too. Sure, this scene shows how distant they are, but it doesn't help us care that they are this far apart. So, when I was watching them arguing and fighting in later scenes, I just wasn't that bothered. I hadn't grown to connect with their relationship as father and son.
I mean, imagine if in The Lion King, Mufasa and Simba shared one scene together and barely interacted in that scene. How would we then care about the tragedy, heartache, and drama that later happens between them? Huh? You know what? I get the feeling that the makers of this film assumed that everyone in their audience would already be fans of the Iron Man comics. Therefore, they would be already attached to the characters and their relationships. No. The Invincible Iron Man is a straight-to-video movie available to the mainstream public, so pretty much anyone can pick this up and watch it. And I don't think that people who haven't read the comics should be forced to read the comics before watching this movie. Hi, I'd like to purchase the Invincible Iron Man, please.
Oh, have you read the comics that this movie is based on?
Oh, no, I've not read any of the Iron Man comics, no.
Oh, so you have to read this comic first?
No. I don't want to read a comic. I want to watch a movie, right? If I wanted to read a comic, I would have gone to the comic book store. But I came to the video store because I want to watch a movie, okay?
Oh, no. You have to read this comic in order to enjoy this movie.
I have to read that in order to enjoy that.
Yes.
That's stupid! Give me that DVD! When someone purchases a DVD from the store, they just want to take it home, put it in their DVD player, press play, and enjoy the movie. Simple as. They don't want any hassle beforehand, no. This is why making films just for fans doesn't work usually. It ends up alienating people who aren't fans.
A movie has to work on its own, or it fails. It's like selling a jigsaw set with some of its pieces missing. I think what makes the film even harder to get invested in is the lack of life in the animation. It's not exactly terrible animation, it's pretty to look at and competent enough to do believable things. Although I will admit that Iron Man looks like he's the weight of a plastic toy when he falls over sometimes. However, characters' faces are limited to just one or two expressions, while the bodies do little besides what they're required to do. So I couldn't visually read their feelings, thoughts or concerns. Both the facial expressions and body gestures are too vague or restrained when it comes to emotion. These problems made it difficult for me to generate a connection with anyone's character acting. Yes, the characters move, but I couldn't feel an organic life in them. They come off as hollow and empty.
Now, perhaps the animation lacks life and expression because of budget restraints. That's an excuse, and nothing more than an excuse. It doesn't matter what happened behind the scenes or whatever intentions the filmmakers had, the result is still the same. I still can't connect to the characters because of the animation.
Mark Warden voices Tony Stark and Iron Man. Now, it's already a bummer that Tony is a boring lead hero for most of the movie, but it's made even worse by Warden's voice acting. Warden sounds charmless, dull, and unengaging. There's nothing appealing or fun or exciting about his delivery. He can sound emotive now and again, but a heap of charisma is missing from his voice. He sounds so plain and mundane for a superhero. Nothing stands out about Warden's voiceover.
Those locations are... Ho Yin drew them on this map. You think the old man was right? Something's going on and I want some answers.
Gwendolyn Yeoh voices Lee May. She sounds effectively resigned and focused when keeping her cool, but she is capable of sounding believably emotional during dramatic scenes.
Tony, do you know why you are on this earth?
Does anyone?
Yes, I do. I have always known.
So this is the life you want to live?
My life does not matter.
Rodney Salisbury voices Rhodes. There's a lot of energy and stamina to Salisbury's voice that captures the sincere personality of Rhodes.
Tony, easy man. Just relax. Ho Yin. That's right. You're gonna be okay, buddy. Just breathe.
What happened?
You were attacked. It got pretty bad, man.
Elisa Gabrielli voices Pepper. She does a decent job pulling off the stern and professional side of her character, by sounding mature and humble. Plus she does sound effectively cheeky when Pepper tries to be crafty, by adding a naughty tint to her delivery when needed.
Pepper, darling, you look concerned. Am I late?
40 minutes, and they're not happy.
So what else is new? I say we keep it casual today.
Smudged lipstick might be a little too casual.
John McCook voices Howard Stark. McCook sounds very strong and stern, which suits his hard-nosed character. He's nothing amazing, but his voice certainly fits the design and personality.
I've been contacted by the Chinese government. They've got questions, like how our weapons ended up in the hands of known radicals.
They can't blame Tony for that.
Let them blame whoever they want, because if they start looking at you, the board's gonna throw you to the wolves.
I don't believe that. It's my company.
It's a public company, and don't think for a second they won't do whatever's necessary to protect it.
The original music score for this film is unique to say the least. It blends Eastern Asian instruments with theatrical orchestra and techno ambience. This makes the music very reflective of the film itself. It can sound mechanical to mirror the technology motif, it can sound cultured to reflect the film's Chinese setting, and it can sound epic to capture the movie's cinematic action. It can also diverse itself into different styles to echo the required tone for different scenes. This music score is lively, dynamic, and well produced. It's just a shame that the music is being attached to scenes I don't care about and animated characters I can't visually read. It's almost like the score is a waste, which is a disappointment because it's really good. It's like the music is better than the movie and deserves to be on something more powerful and grand.
To conclude, The Invincible Iron Man is a boring movie that lacks the emotional depth and dramatic weight needed to strengthen its ideas. Sure, some of the supporting characters are slightly likeable, but Tony Stark, the main character of the film, loses his charm after the first 10 minutes, which severely weakens the film's relationship drama and overall appeal. Yes, the music is good, and a few of the designs are pretty to look at, but these things don't make up for how much is missing from the film's story and characters. I think fans will possibly enjoy it, but others will struggle to get into it. I'm going to give this film 1.5 strawberries out of 5. Now, if some of you out there are still wondering if this movie is your cup of tea, then consider this. If you enjoyed Jackie Chan adventures, then I think you may get something out of The Invincible Iron Man. They're kind of similar. I've been Jambareeqi, and I hope you've enjoyed my review. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I encourage you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I'm going to take a break from the show, but when I return next month, I'll be presenting a brand new season. That's right. Cheerio, folks.